In 1983, Gene Simmons first crossed paths with Shannon Tweed at the Playboy Mansion. Their romance lasted nearly 3 decades before they finally married in 2011. Yet their wedding wasn't the fairy tale many fans assumed. It was, in part, damage control after scandals threatened to tear his family apart. Newly uncovered clips from their reality show reveal conversations never meant for public viewing. His son was caught in a plagiarism scandal, and legal filings from 2025 detail troubling accusations from female employees. The rock star who once boasted of sleeping with 4,800 women was now dealing with consequences that stretched far beyond a notorious reputation. But before Gene Simmons became the demon, he was Chaim Wietz, born on August 25, 1949 in Haifa, Israel. His mother, Flora Klein, born in Hungary in 1925, had survived Nazi camps and forced labor as a teenager. His father, Yehiel Wietz, also escaped Hungary. They married in 1946, moved to Israel the next year, and began a life marked by resilience after unimaginable loss. British forces still occupied the region at the time, and survival was a daily struggle. That history left deep imprints on the boy who would later reinvent himself. By 1955, when Chaim was 6, his parents' marriage had collapsed, largely due to poverty. His father stayed in Israel. His mother raised him alone in Tirat Carmel. Flora worked long factory shifts sewing buttons, and dinner was often nothing more than bread and milk. At just 7, Chaim picked wild fruit to sell at the roadside. He wore a coat fashioned from an army blanket, felt hunger constantly, and often cried himself to sleep in an empty home while his mother worked. School offered little escape. He was bullied for being different. Even in a country built after war, prejudice still found its way into classrooms. Yet Chaim discovered a source of hope: American comic books. Spider-Man, Superman, larger-than-life heroes filled the pages. He couldn't read English yet, but he studied them anyway. By 7, he spoke Hebrew, Hungarian, and Turkish. And now he began teaching himself English just to follow the speech bubbles of his heroes. By 1957, he started to understand his mother's haunted silence. At 14, she had been forced by Nazis into potato fields under armed guard. She wore marked clothing, was moved from camp to camp, and watched her family disappear. She rarely spoke of it, but her tears and overprotectiveness revealed more than words could. From that, Chaim learned his own lifelong rule, never to show weakness. That same year, Flora made a bold decision. With her 8-year-old son, she immigrated to Queens, New York. They had no money, no English, no family waiting. His father remarried in Israel. Chaim never saw him again. In America, he took the name Eugene Klein. Indoor plumbing and TV dinners amazed him, but the culture shock was real. Flora took grueling 15-hour shifts in Brooklyn factories, while Gene adjusted to a new country with babysitters and television as his guides. He tried a Jewish school, but public school proved a better fit. Teased for his accent, he fought back by mastering English, watching TV, and reading comics non-stop. He graduated from Newtown High in 1967. To make money, he sold cacti door to door, picked fruit again, and worked wherever he could. Poverty toughened him, and every insult pushed him harder. By 1959, at just 9 years old, he legally changed his name again, this time to Gene Klein, inspired by cowboy star Gene Autry. Now he was determined to become fully American. Cramped apartments and second-hand clothes couldn't dim his ambition. He idolized The Ed Sullivan Show, and when the Beatles appeared on February 9, 1964, his future crystallized. He wanted that stage, that adoration. He even faked a British accent for a while, charming girls and trying on identities. Throughout the 1960s, Gene took odd jobs, slicing meat in butcher shops, serving behind deli counters. He earned just $1,025 an hour, saved every penny, and refused alcohol. He noticed how drunken men looked foolish and decided he'd always keep control. He practiced guitar endlessly, formed bands, and pursued music with obsession. In 1968, he enrolled at Sullivan County Community College, earned an associate degree by 1970, and briefly taught 6th grade in Spanish Harlem for $75 a week. But teaching wasn't his calling. He joined forces with Paul Stanley to form Rainbow, later renamed Wicked Lester in 1970. By day he worked odd jobs, including fashion magazines and translation gigs in Hungarian, Turkish, and Spanish. By night, he chased music. He even recorded solo demos while still sending money to his mother. His personal life was just as unconventional. In his book, he recalled losing his virginity at nearly 14 in 1963 during a newspaper route. A married woman opened the door in a nightgown, crying, and he described what followed in candid detail. That early encounter would feed the sexual bravado of his later persona. In 1970, Wicked Lester included Gene, Paul, Steve Coronel, Brooke Ostrander, and Tony Zarella. By October 15, 1972, they recorded an album at Jimi Hendrix's Electric Lady Studios, funded by Epic Records. But A&R director Don Ellis dismissed it as too messy for radio and shelved it. Furious, Gene and Paul eventually shut down the band. Later, after Kiss's rise, they spent $138,000 in 1977 to buy back the tapes, ensuring the failed experiment would never undermine their new image. Still, bootlegs leaked, with songs later recut by Kiss. In January 1973, Gene and Paul regrouped. They recruited drummer Peter Criss from a Rolling Stone ad and guitarist Ace Frehley from The Village Voice. This time, they aimed higher: makeup, fire, theatrics. Kiss was born. Their first show on January 30th, 1973 at the Coventry in Queens drew just 3 people. But Gene breathed fire on stage, leaving an impression far greater than the turnout. Word spread through fanzines and concerts. By 1974, they were headlining Anaheim Stadium. Gene became the Demon in 1973. Inspired by horror films and comic characters like Black Bolt, he painted bat wings around his eyes, breathed fire, and spat blood. Early shows drew only a dozen fans, but those fans spread the legend. Manager Bill O'Coin discovered them in August 1973 and secured a Casablanca Records deal within weeks. Their debut, released February 18, 1974, sold just 75,000 copies. But with over 300 shows that year, Kiss kept Casablanca alive. By 1975, they were filling arenas despite lacking a mainstream hit. Gene's offstage life was as sensational as his onstage character. He took Polaroids with sexual partners, each woman holding a hotel key as proof. He claimed nearly 5,000 photos and over 4,600 conquests. Grace Slick once called the habit disgusting. Shannon Tweed famously burned the stash on their reality show after they wed in 2011, ending that era. Their 1975 live album, Alive, Mud captured the chaos. Recorded in cities like Detroit, Cleveland, Wildwood, and Davenport, it went quadruple platinum, selling over 4 million copies, climbing to number 9 on Billboard, and staying charted for 110 weeks. It also saved Casablanca Records from collapse. In 1976, Destroyer, produced by Bob Ezrin, added orchestras, choirs, and effects. Shout It Out Loud hit number 31, while Gene's God of Thunder became a signature. Ezrin rewrote songs and even played bass on Detroit Rock City. His classical influences shaped the record. By the late 1970s, tours became spectacles. The 1979 Dynasty Tour featured Gene flying across the stage and Ace's rocket-firing guitar. But trouble brewed. Poor ticket sales, canceled shows, and Peter Criss's drug use eroded the band. By December 16, 1979, the original lineup was crumbling. NBC's 1978 TV movie, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, was mocked for its campiness, but became a cult hit overseas. The same year, each member released a solo album. Gene's, featuring When You Wish Upon a Star, and cameos from Cher and Bob Seger, sold well. Dynasty's disco-tinged hit, I Was Made for Lovin' You, released May 23, 1979, reached number 11 on Billboard and went platinum in 5 countries, but alienated rock fans. Peter Criss played only one track before leaving on September 18, 1983. Kiss unmasked live on MTV, releasing Lick It Up, which went platinum with over 1 million sales. The gamble worked. Fans returned. Merchandise exploded from action figures to lunchboxes, earning millions. Gene dabbled in acting, playing the villain Luther in Michael Crichton's 1984 film Runaway. In 1989, Kiss's Hot in the Shade produced the ballad Forever, reaching number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. But internal turmoil grew, and drummer Eric Carr died in 1991. Gene's personal life remained tabloid fodder. He dated Cher in 1979, then her best friend Diana Ross, causing a public scandal. The original Kiss reunited in 1996 with Makeup, grossing a $143 million tour. But Ace and Peter were paid less than Gene and Paul, breeding lawsuits and resentment. From 2006 to 2012, Gene's reality series Gene Simmons' Family Jewels co-starred Shannon Tweed and their children Nick, born 1989, and Sophie, born 1992. It humanized Gene but glossed over his wilder past. The 2011 wedding-capped season drama, Shannon discovered and destroyed his Polaroid collection before he finally proposed. By 2015, Gene's net worth exceeded $400 million. He licensed Kiss on over 5,000 products, co-founded Rock and Brews Restaurants in 2012, launched The Vault in 2017, joined cannabis company Invictus MD in 2018, and even co-owned the LA Kiss Arena football team in 2013, but controversy lingered. A 2010 lawsuit from ESPN makeup artist Victoria Jackson alleged misconduct. A 2016 restaurant employee accused him of groping. Both were settled quietly. In 2024, his comments about female dancers on Dancing with the Stars drew backlash.